Hello, thank you for joining me today. I wanted to take some time to talk about why Bet Me is still my favorite romance novel. I did want to pop in a quick content warning here. There's some fat phobia in this book. It's not condoned by the narrative, but the main character does struggle with her body image, and the main character's mother does make some comments about her appearance. So I just wanted to let you know that up front. Um, I first read this book in high school. You can probably tell. I don't remember exactly when I bought this, but it's a well loved copy. It's got a little bit of repairs. Um, for a couple of years now, I've been rereading it pretty much every single year. And it kind of just is perfectly suited to my tastes. So I'm not going to try to convince you, oh, this is the best book ever. This is more about me just talking about why I personally love this book. Um, so this is by Jennifer Crusie, and I love a bunch of her other books. Not, um, but maybe we can talk about that at a different time. For this book, one of my favorite things, is that the writing is focused on the characters, which is my favorite kind of writing to read, is character-driven writing, no matter what the genre is. Since this is a romance novel, the main focus is, of course, the relationship between the two main characters. That's Min, which is short for Minerva, and Cal, which is short for Calvin. You can kind of see over the course of the book, they grow and change. They learn more about each other. They grow from experiences they have together. So that's super neat. Another part, which is kind of, goes with the character driven writing, is the supporting characters actually have personalities. They have complexities. They're not just cheerleaders. They have their own jobs. They have their own motives. They think differently from each other based on their own life experiences. And they each have lives that go on and happen while they're off screen. And their whole existence does not just revolve around the singular character that they are attached to. So Min's best friends have their own lives, and Cal's best friend have their own lives. And, you find out later about their parents and their siblings, and everyone has stuff going outside of Min and Cal's relationship, which I think is fantastic. I like the humor in this book. It has a lot of snappy dialogue, a lot of, you can tell these people are smart. Like, they have interests and they like learning new things. The humorous situations, which are kind of convenient at times. I feel like with the kind of book it is, it's not a big deal. It's not over the top, in my opinion. And the characters aren't so serious. They have a sense of humor about themselves a lot of the time. Like, they seem like people you'd like being around in real life. And so there's a lot of this book that, even though I've read it so many times, it still makes me laugh. One thing that's very unusual is the characters, Min and Cal, are in their 30s. I believe they're both in their mid 30s. It's their exact ages are mentioned briefly in the book, so I don't remember exactly, but they're like settled in their careers. Um, like they're confident in themselves and they know how to like have rational and reasonable conversations. Um, and even though what's it? The inciting incident is kind of the misunderstanding trope. It's kind of like not done in a way that's super frustrating. There's actually this line near the end of the book where Min says, all those people who tell you to just talk about it, just talk about your problems. I bet they don't talk about their problems, which is true, right? Um, some things are hard to say. Some things you just you don't want to bring up. You don't want to make someone else mad at you or you don't want to be uncomfortable. And I feel that's a very fair way to think. I feel like there's stuff people struggle with bringing up to even people they're close with their whole lives. Min and Cal both have their own thoughts, their own feelings. They'll listen to other people and they'll take in their opinions, but still make their own decisions. So they're not like easily swayed, but they're not so stubborn that they'll never ever consider what anybody else thinks. Um, they're still people, right? They still make mistakes. They still make a lot of assumptions. That's like a lot of what goes on in here because of, it is based on miscommunication. So, like, assumptions are made based on the initial miscommunication. Um, and then, they're still self-conscious and they have flaws and sometimes they do something dumb, right? Um, to me, it's not annoying. I think it's just really human. Um, to like to try your best, but still sometimes get it wrong, right? Or I'm sorry if you can hear that. The cats don't like that I shut the door. um, oh my goodness. Um, yeah. I like this writing style a lot. It's very quick. It's very fast paced. Um, like even though it's like almost a 400-page book, so it's like not enormous. Oh, you can see how much I've handled these pages. Um, but it's not that short either. But it kind of flies by, right? The scenes flowed into each other really well. And just like, how do I put this? Um, it's always interesting to see what's going to happen next. Like, not like in like a cliffhanger way, but for me, I got really interested in everyone in the book and what they were going to do and what was going to happen next and how what just happened is going to affect everything else that already happened. Uh, so I found this book really easy and fast to read. I could probably read this whole thing in a day, no problem, if I had enough time. I like the characters in this book. For me, it's important that I at least like the protagonists. They do not have to be morally perfect, but I want to like them. I want to be able to root for them. Uh, and these people feel like real people trying their best. Um, they're just trying their hardest, and I really appreciate that. Something else I liked, Min and Cal have great chemistry. Even from their first date, they have good conversation, they have fun interactions, and when they start to like each other, they show it. When they get attached to each other, they give each other compliments, and even if they're giving them a hard time at times, You can tell they like each other. You can tell they like being around each other. They like do nice things for the other person, right? So I think that's fantastic. I like the complexities. Like I said, everyone has their own personalities, their own thought processes. And so, like, when you get a group of people together, right, there's gonna be stuff happening all the time. There's gonna be situations that are changing. And because of the interwoven dynamic, like, it affects everybody, right? Things that at first would have only affected men's friends and family, as it becomes intertwined with Cal's world, it affects him and his friends. And so, like, you get to kind of see all these relationships grow and cross over. And it's really, I feel like that's what part of what makes it really fun is like all these things that are happening and changing. And that means they have lives and depths outside of the romance. Like, there's stuff that happens that has, it affects the relationship Min and Cal have, but like, there's all this stuff with Cal's nephew, and it's very cute and sweet. And you can tell that Cal cares about his family, and it affects his relationship with Min because Min meets his nephew and other stuff happens. But um, I guess what I'm saying is, like, I like that these feel like whole people. Um, and like real life, it can be, messy. And messy isn't always bad. And so I like that. If you get a chance to listen to the audiobook version, it's really fantastic. I wrote down the gal's name. Deanna Hurst does an amazing job at voicing all the characters. They all sound really distinct. You can tell who's talking, even though it's just one actor. And I really, really love it. I was able to get it from the library when I was in high school, and it's just a great listen. So because this book moves at a pretty decent pace, a lot of stuff happens. The situations kind of flow into each other. It's really nice. It's always moving forward, right? Like, from the very, very first chapter, um, even though, like, there's not really a plot, the book is about the relationships of the characters. But that relationship is always progressing. Um, Sometimes they have a couple of setbacks, but there's always stuff happening. And I think that really, really helps move the story along. It keeps it interesting. And like I said before, it made me always want to know what was going to happen next. And my absolute favorite part, and this is a little cheesy, you can tell that they love each other, that Min and Cal love each other. By the end, I by the end you can see, like, the way they talk to each other, the way they know each other. They, like, really see each other, and they love the person they see. They know the real Min, the real Cal, and that's the person they want to spend the rest of their lives with. And I think that's absolutely beautiful to see somebody and to know their flaws and to know what you think is so wonderful about them, and everything all wrapped up together. That complete person, that's who you choose, and that's who you want to keep choosing for the rest of your life. I just think that's fantastic. And I don't know, I love it. It gets me every time. I would like more people just to know about this book. I want to know what they think about it. I don't know anybody else who's read this book. Um, so even if they don't love it as much as I do, I'm curious to hear what people think about it. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk. I know I didn't really explain the plot. I kind of feel like explaining the plot ruins the book. Maybe in the future I'll do a more in-depth book discussion since this isn't really what that was. But I appreciate your time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye.